Obviously, I didn't shoot Jeremy. I didn't kill my husband.
But did it appear to you at that time that he was deceased?
I thought I could see his neck moving.
This is Julene Simcoe, playing the role of an innocent, grieving wife after shooting her husband, Jeremy, in the back of the head while he slept in their own bed.
Whatever sound that I heard obviously was a gunshot. I felt that there was blood or whatever in the bed.
Now, Julene will do everything she can to convince detectives that she was simply the lucky survivor of a mysterious armed intruder who broke into their home that morning.
There was a definite sound of something.
In what area?
Outside of the bedroom. And then I went in the bed to help Jeremy, and I called 911.
But beneath all the tears and performances lies a story so dark and disturbing that even seasoned detectives rarely encounter something like it.
I have seen pictures of you in chains crying.
This was only role-playing, just so you know.
11 hours before your husband is found dead, someone is on the computer in your house pulling up your father's obituary.
At around 6 a.m. on November 18th, 2009, police in Vermilion, Ohio, received a frantic 911 call from a woman claiming that someone had just shot her husband inside their home.
911, do you need police, fire, ambulance?
I need help.
Okay, tell me your address. Tell me your address.
2001 Northridge Road.
2001 Northridge Road. What's going on? Ma'am, listen to me. What is going on? What do you need, police? Ma'am.
Somebody shot my husband.
Somebody shot your husband? 2001 Northridge Road, correct?
Yeah.
Cell phone is 897-5233. Is he breathing? Ma'am, is he breathing? Ma'am? Ma'am, is he breathing? Did he get shot at? Ma'am, you've got to listen to me, okay?
When officers arrived at the rural property shared by Jeremy and Julene Simcoe, they discovered 36-year-old Jeremy lying in bed with a gunshot wound to the back of his head. His wife of 10 years, Julene, was hysterical and told police that an intruder must have broken into their home while they were sleeping. But the scene immediately raised questions. There were no signs of forced entry, no unknown DNA, and none of the couple's 4 German Shepherd dogs had barked that morning. Still, Julene's story was convincing enough that investigators couldn't prove otherwise, and for years the case remained unresolved. What you're about to watch is Julene's interrogation interview from 2013, nearly 4 years after Jeremy's murder.
So let's talk about when you went to bed that night. Let's start there, if you don't mind. What time was that?
I don't remember.
Okay, you don't have any idea? Was it early? Was it late?
Maybe 11, 12 o'clock.
11, 12 o'clock. Okay, so you were canning pumpkins, or pumpkin, was it pumpkin and pumpkin seed or what?
Pumpkins in general.
Okay. All right. So you're canning pumpkins. And while you're canning pumpkins, what is Jeremy doing?
We were both working at it together.
Okay, so you're both there. Was anybody else in the house?
No.
Okay. And at what point did you cease canning pumpkins?
I don't remember.
Okay.
What time it was exactly.
During that night, when you finished the pumpkins, did you and he sit down for a bit of relaxation and watch some TV or something like that?
Yeah, we were relaxing in between. It's a process, canning, sitting down, watching TV.
Okay.
Back
What were
and
you
forth.
watching that night?
I think I remember we went over some stuff, and I think it was called The Prisoner. Is that what it was? I don't really remember the name of it. It was like a 3-day series.
Okay. What, HBO or Discovery? I mean, can you?
I have no idea what channel
Okay.
it was on.
All right. Was it a documentary or was it something
It was a
that was
show.
fictional?
Fictional.
Okay. All right. And you think it was The Prisoner?
I don't really remember the name of the show, but I think that's what it was.
Okay. All right. And you'd been watching that for about 3 days?
I think
Okay.
that was the last day.
So what time do you think you turned off the TV then?
When we went to sleep,
Okay.
before we went upstairs.
Okay. So would you have finished canning and then went back and watched some more TV, or did you finish the TV and go back and do more
I
canning?
have no idea what happened first.
Okay. All right. And when you were canning, what were you wearing?
I have no idea.
You don't have any idea?
I really don't remember what I was wearing.
Okay. Do you remember discussing this with the police early on in the investigation?
Not really.
Okay. All right. Who locked up the house when you went upstairs?
I really don't know.
Okay. Did you say, perhaps I read it, but correct me if I'm wrong, did you say that Jeremy went out and locked up the dogs or
I think
hooked
he
up
did.
the dogs? What does that involve when you say he goes out and hooks up the dogs?
They
or-
had houses around the yard with chains, so he would have hooked everybody up.
Okay. Now, that chain lets them move how much?
I have no idea.
I mean, was it 6 foot, 8 foot, 20 foot? Was it a
Yes.
lead? Well, I don't want to put words in
6
your
to
mouth.
8 feet, I have no idea.
Okay, but they could move in and out of their
Yes,
houses,
they had a-
right?
they had a
They
whole
each
area.
could come in and out of their house when they
Yes.
were hooked up. Okay, I just want to make sure. All right. And was it generally the practice for who to lock up the house?
It just depended. It wasn't really anybody's job.
Okay.
Either him or I did it.
Who did it?
I have
Predominantly,
no
who
idea.
did it? You have no idea?
It was a combined effort. Whoever
Okay.
was the last one
Okay.
out of the room, I guess.
Let's pause here for a second. Not only did Jolene claim she couldn't remember a lot of things from that night, but she was also pretty unpleasant every time detectives asked her something. And yeah, maybe you're thinking right now that you probably wouldn't remember who locked the door in your house 3 years ago either. But when something this tragic happens, people usually remember even the smallest, most pointless details because they've replayed every single moment in their head over and over again.
And had either of you had anything to drink that night?
Jeremy had.
Okay. And what did he have to drink?
I believe he had some whiskey and beer.
Okay. Do you know what kind of quantities he drank that in?
I wasn't keeping track.
Okay. And you weren't drinking anything?
No.
Okay. And during the course of that night before you went to bed, did either one of you take any medication?
Jeremy did.
And what did he take?
I believe he took sleeping pills.
Okay. And how do you recall that?
He normally did before we went to sleep. It was a normal habit of his.
Do you know what kind of sleeping pills he took?
I have no idea. I mean, they were blue. They were over the counter, I think.
They were okay, over the counter, but you don't know what they were? Okay. And how long had you been taking sleeping pills?
Him?
Yes.
As in prior to this? Mm-hmm. It was, I don't know, quite some time.
Okay. All right. And when you went to bed that night, I'm assuming all the lights were turned off in the house?
I would assume most of the lights were off,
I mean, is that the standard practice?
Yes.
Okay, that's all right.
besides like night lights. I believe the lights would have probably been off.
Okay. And you both went to the same bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. And when you went to that bedroom, was the door open or closed when you went to sleep?
There's 2 doors in the room.
Okay.
One was closed, one was open.
Okay, the open door, where does that open up to?
Hallway.
The hallway. And the closed door, where does that open up to?
Another bedroom.
Okay.
Which at that time was our office.
An office. Okay. All right. What was Jeremy wearing when he went to bed?
I don't think he was wearing anything.
Okay, he was nude?
Yes.
All right. And how were you attired when you went to bed?
I was wearing my underwear.
Okay. And was that pretty common? Okay. As you may recall, at the time the police got there were several marital aids throughout the house open. Did you guys have sexual relations that night? Okay. And what was routine for sexual relations with you when you went with you two? Was it an everyday thing, a common thing every day? Okay.
I mean, usually.
Excuse me. Was there any particular reason on this night that you did not have sexual relations?
No.
Okay. All right. Had there been any arguing?
No.
Okay. No discussions, no disputes, anything at all?
Nope.
Okay. Was there any particular tension or anything between you that night that would have kept you from having relations with him?
No.
Okay. You and he weren't having any discussions about or concerns about money or buying property or anything like that?
I mean, the property was definitely on our minds.
Okay. But was it causing any tension or stress?
No more than usual.
Well, I
tensions.
don't know
we
what
wanted,
usual
we
would
wanted,
be.
We wanted the property, so that's what we were aiming for. So was there
Okay.
stress? There was stress over getting the property.
Okay.
Was it stress between us? No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Just in general.
How would you describe your relationship with Jeremy?
It was a good relationship. He was the love of my life.
Okay. How long had you been married?
10 years.
And how long did you date before you were married?
Date, probably 6 months. I'd
Okay.
known him years before
And how did you know him?
through a friend.
Okay. You didn't go to school with him or anything like
No,
that?
he lived close to my parents' house. So
Okay. All right. How often would you guys have arguments or fights?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know how
I
to.
wouldn't know.
I don't know how to answer that. Did we
Well-
argue? Yeah, everybody argues. How often? I don't know. As often as other people argue.
Okay.
I don't know how you want me to answer that. Or how I'm
I
supposed
just want you to answer it.
that.
I just want you to answer it honestly. I'm just trying to look for some level here of how often you guys would have an argument.
We got along very well.
Okay.
So we didn't argue that often.
What Julene is trying to do here is make her relationship with Jeremy sound completely normal, just like any other couples. But as you're about to see, there was nothing normal about what was really going on between them.
So, going back to what you said, between 11 and midnight you go to bed, right? Okay. And did anything occur that night that was out of the ordinary from any other night?
Not that I really recall. I do remember the dogs barking, but
What
that
time were the
wasn't.
dogs barking?
I have no idea what time it was, but it's not. I mean, it wasn't that. They barked sometimes. Not anything that would alarm us. There's coyotes. There's raccoons. We have 100 acres behind us.
Okay. Well, let's go back and specifically focus in on between the hours of midnight. Let's assume that was the time you went to bed. And you said it could have been 11 to midnight, but let's assume midnight. Between the hours of midnight and the hours of 6 a.m. when the shooting was discovered, okay? What occurred specifically during that period of time?
We heard the dogs bark at some point. Jeremy got up and yelled out the window at the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I remembered saying that he might have taken another pill then. It wasn't uncommon for him. I think I said I took a sleeping pill or half a sleeping pill and I went upstairs.
That
At
was
some
after
point.
that was before you got in bed, or
We got into bed
okay,
to go to sleep.
right?
At some point the dogs woke us up barking.
Okay,
I think Jeremy was restless. He took another sleeping pill after that.
okay,
And then at some point, he was snoring, which he did all the time. And I got up and I took, I think, a half a sleeping pill and I went up to the third floor.
okay.
to
When you
sleep.
say you got up to take a sleeping pill, where did you get the sleeping pill
The
from?
hallway closet.
On the
I
second
think.
floor or on the
Yeah.
first floor?
On the second floor.
On the second floor.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, do you recall what time it was
I
that
have no
this
idea
happened?
what time it was.
Okay. And then why did you go to the third floor?
So that I could sleep.
Okay. Is there a bed up there?
There's a couch up there.
A couch. And were you sleeping on the couch?
Yes.
Okay. And when you went upstairs to sleep on that couch, how were you attired?
Same way I was when I went to bed.
You didn't take a robe with you or anything like that?
I don't believe so.
Okay, that's fine. Do you know what time it was when you got to the third floor?
No idea what time it was.
Okay. And did you fall asleep while you're up there?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the next thing you remember after falling asleep on the third floor?
I remember hearing a noise that woke me up.
How can you best describe that noise to me?
It was a noise. I don't really recall what it was. I mean, when something wakes you up, how do you describe it? I don't know. It's something loud that woke me up.
Okay. Were you sleeping soundly? Was it a fitful sleep? Or you?
I have no idea how I was sleeping.
Okay.
I was sleeping with a pillow over my head, which I did quite often.
Okay. And you heard the noise. And what
Yes.
was your first reaction when you heard the noise?
Well, it woke me up, so my first reaction was, what was the noise?
Okay,
But
and what-
obviously,
what
there was a
immediate-
noise that woke me up.
Okay. And what immediately did you do after that?
I imagine I probably sat there a few minutes,
Okay.
and then I went down to the second floor.
Okay. Would you say it was a couple of minutes, several minutes?
Time frame, I have no idea. I mean, I'm sure I sat there a few minutes.
Okay.
The more detectives focus on the timeline of that night, the more irritated Julene becomes. That's usually a bad sign, because if your story is true, the timeline should be the easiest part to explain. But when the story is something you've had to invent after the fact, every follow-up question starts to feel like a trap. And unfortunately for her, detectives had plenty more of those coming.
So a period of time elapsed from the time you heard the noise and you went downstairs.
Yeah.
What caused you to go downstairs?
I assumed Jeremy was awake shooting out the window.
Okay. And
So
what
if he was awake, then I was going to go downstairs because
Okay.
he was awake and I was awake.
And was that a practice that you guys engaged in frequently?
What's that?
Shooting out the window?
Yes.
Okay. And what
Quite
typically would you
often.
shoot at?
Coyotes, raccoons, groundhogs.
Okay. And that late at night, you weren't concerned about it? I'm assuming this is something you had done previously, correct?
Many times.
Okay. And do you have any idea what time of the morning it was when you heard that noise? No. Okay. But it was, please don't let me put words in your mouth. But as I understand what you're relating to me now, it would have been during the hours of darkness when most people are sleeping, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Early morning.
And wouldn't that be something that would alert neighbors or concern neighbors or annoy neighbors if you were shooting out the window at that
We
time?
lived in a rural area.
Okay,
It
but
was
didn't you have a
uncommon.
neighbor right across the street?
Yeah.
And,
I mean, that would have been towards the back of the house. So
and within about 100 yards on either side of the house, correct?
She's not going to speculate as to what a neighbor could hear or not hear, so I don't think that's a fair question.
Well,
I think that's up to the neighbors to tell you if they heard something or didn't hear something. So I'm not going to have
Well,
her speculate on what a
Okay.
neighbor could or could not hear.
you understand we need to ask that.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think that she feels
Okay,
like
well,
she can answer
if she
that.
can't, she can't.
This was the first time her lawyer jumped in and basically shut down a question the detectives had just asked. Because of course, Jolene can't explain why the neighbors didn't hear this so-called mysterious intruder shooting inside the house. Mainly because there was no intruder. And since I said this was the first time her lawyer stepped in, you can probably guess it won't be the last.
But it was clearly during the hours of darkness, and you assumed that he was shooting out the window at animals.
yeah.
Okay. And what window would he normally be shooting out of?
The only window, well, I guess that isn't the only window. The window facing the back of the property.
Okay, just to make sure that we're always on the same page, I have some diagrams that were developed by BCI when they did the crime scene. And what I'd like you to do, if you don't mind, Jack, would you like a set of these? I'm going to point out to you here, this is the second floor of your property. And if you would, I've got a red pen here. I'd like you, okay, this would be the craft room, the office off the bedroom, and then this is north. And when you see these markings here, those indicate windows. So window there, window here. So if you would you indicate for me by circling with the pen what window you typically shot out of?
I don't really think this is north, but that's okay.
This is your bedroom here. And this is the hallway leading to the
So then it
bedroom.
would have been, what do you want me to do here?
I
Where do
want you to
think-
circle
I'm
the
sorry,
window.
but she said something about, you think north is
Well,
incorrect?
the lake is over here. So this would
She
be
thinks
north,
the
this would be
orientation on
south.
the chart is
This
off,
would be
so.
east, this would be west.
Is your house
Face the lake.
faced?
So it's, I mean, yeah, maybe like that, but anyways, to me that's
Okay.
north. This window. Circle it, you said?
Yeah, if you'd circle the window. And that, okay. All right. There's no window there.
Oh.
See that
Sorry, that's a,
that's the window.
Dresser.
Okay.
you want me to X this
All
out?
right. Okay. So
There's
that
a
would be
window
the
here, window here.
That's a window right
Okay,
there.
so it's
Okay.
this window.
So it'd be that window. Okay.
This window.
All right. Now, as we're looking at this chart, this would be your bed. Which side of the bed did you sleep on?
I usually slept on this side.
Okay, would you put an X on the side you slept on?
Yes.
Okay, let's draw a line down the middle of that, denoting, okay, so that's your side of the bed. Okay. All right, so you hear a noise, and you wait a couple of minutes upstairs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You come downstairs. Is there a particular path you took downstairs, or did you just come right down the stairs? What did you do when you hit the second floor?
Well, there's only one door to that bedroom.
Okay.
So I would have had to come out of that door,
Okay.
go down the hallway, and over to the bedroom.
Okay. So you came down these stairs, walked through the craft room, into this hallway, and into that room?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you would, just take a dotted line and just trace exactly where you went. Coming
You want
down
me
the
to
stairs.
do the stairs?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Came down the stairs. I had to go over through the door, down the hallway. This hallway. I'm assuming this is the door.
Yes, ma'am.
So through the door.
Okay, and at this point, was the door open or closed?
It was open,
It was open, okay. Do you guys sleep with the bedroom door open?
generally.
Okay,
This one is usually closed.
all right. That leads to the office?
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me. All right, so,
This one's usually closed and locked.
okay. And this was in November, so it's dark. Did you turn on any lights when you're coming downstairs?
No,
Okay. Did you turn on a light when you came into the bedroom?
not immediately.
Okay, all right. That's fine. We're just going to take this a little bit at a time. I wasn't there, he wasn't there, and we're just trying to recreate this so we understand as best we can what happened here. And again, I'm just going to reiterate to you over and over again, what we're doing is searching for the truth here, and we need your help to do that, okay? So if you're willing to help us, because it's so important, I think we can get there, all right? So that's what we're doing here.
Julene is now being asked extremely basic questions, and somehow, even that requires permission from her lawyer. Think about that. Detectives are literally trying to map out the room so they can understand what happened during her husband's murder, and she doesn't seem very interested in helping them solve anything, which is a strange attitude for someone who supposedly just survived a home invasion, right?
You're in the bedroom. Did you pause at the doorway or did you walk right in?
I don't remember.
Okay. As best you can recall, what did you do after you entered the bedroom?
Is this? I can keep going with this. I went over. Jeremy was sort of like, from what I can remember, in the middle of the bed, kind of.
Okay.
It seemed like
All right.
over this way, a little more maybe towards my side, because
Okay.
I walked over to my side of the bed. He looked like he was sleeping.
Would you be kind enough to draw a stick figure of Jeremy in approximately the position he was at in the bed when you went there?
Do you want me to draw a stick?
If you can.
I mean, I don't really remember exactly.
Just
But
give me the best you can remember. That's all I'm asking.
no, just kind of in.
Okay. So just a little bit off center in the bed, more to your side than his side.
Yeah.
Okay. And what did you, okay, so that's the position you found him in. So you walked into the bedroom. What's the next thing you do?
I went over to the side as he was facing this way.
Okay, you went over to what would you've referred to as your side of the bed. Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. All right. I just want to make sure we're clear here. I don't want any misunderstanding. Okay. And what happened next?
I went to wake him up.
Okay. And how did you try to wake him up?
I don't really remember. I mean, to be honest, I just, went to touch him to wake him up.
Do you remember where you touched him at?
I don't have any idea.
Did you say anything to him?
I mean, I'm sure I was, saying something. I don't know what I said. If
Okay.
I said anything.
All right. So you try to wake him up, and what happens next?
I felt that there was like the blood or whatever in the bed.
What did you think that was?
I had no idea.
Okay.
But at that point, I felt, like something obviously wasn't right.
Okay, let's back up a little bit. Okay. What specifically made you think something wasn't right? What exactly did you feel? Describe what you felt. Because it's still dark at this time, right?
Yeah, it's dark.
Okay, it's
I mean,
dark.
it's somewhat dark. It wasn't completely dark in the bedroom.
Okay. Were there any lights on in the bedroom?
There was I think the only light was from a clock light.
Okay. All right. So what exactly, as best you can recall, when you tried to wake him up, did you experience that made you feel something was wrong?
He wasn't responding to me.
Okay.
And then I felt something wet, and then almost immediately heard noise
Okay.
out in the hallway that somewhere. I don't know where it was coming from. I heard noise. And
Okay. All right. You heard a noise. What kind of noise did you hear?
I have no idea what it was, whether it was something falling or somebody moving. There was a definite sound of something.
In what area?
Outside of the bedroom.
Outside of the bedroom. Can you tell? Same floor, up above you?
I assumed it was out in the hallway. That's what it sounded like to me.
Okay.
I mean, it was close.
Okay. And what did you do then?
I grabbed the gun
Where did you grab the gun from?
out of my dresser
Okay. And where was it at in your
in
dresser?
the drawer.
Okay. Is that normally where that gun is at?
Either or. I mean, sometimes it was in his dresser, sometimes it was in mine. We'd been cleaning and
Okay.
stuff was moved around, so
Okay. When were you cleaning?
the days before.
Okay.
We were planning on having somebody come to, what do you call that? Appraise the house.
Okay. Why was it necessary to move the gun? Do you remember?
I don't remember why. Probably there was stuff in his drawer, I moved stuff and it was
Okay. And this gun, what kind of gun was it?
a 9mm?
Okay. Do you remember the make?
No.
Okay. And were you familiar with that gun?
I had shot it before, but familiar, not particularly.
Okay. All right. So where in the nightstand was that gun?
In the drawer.
Top drawer?
Top drawer.
Top drawer. And was it underneath anything? Was it right there at top?
I don't remember.
Okay.
If it
Did
was
you have
or
to search
wasn't.
for it when you opened the drawer?
I don't really remember. I just remember
Okay.
grabbing it. Like, I don't remember.
Okay. When you picked up the gun, was it loaded?
Yes.
Later in the investigation, detectives documented multiple bullet holes in the bedroom wall, which matched the warning shots Julene said she fired. She claims she fired 2 shots down the hallway because she thought an intruder was still inside the house. And you have to admit, the story Julene came up with was actually pretty convincing, especially because most people would probably react the exact same way in a situation like that.
Was the safety on or off?
It was off.
Okay.
I mean,
Is
the safety was on. I'm sorry.
the safety was on?
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you determine the safety was on?
Because I had to turn the safety to shoot the gun.
Okay. And what period of time did that take you to do that?
I don't know.
Did you fumble with it? Did you struggle with it? Or just from having shot the gun before, did you just flip the safety off?
No, I had fumbled with it a little bit.
Okay. How did you fumble with it?
I wasn't that familiar with the gun, so it took me.
Okay, I mean physically, if you could just, there are different safeties on guns. Sometimes people will hold them up and look at them. I mean, there's a number of ways to resolve that issue.
Is it okay if I?
If you can recall.
I recall going towards the light of the clock to find the safety on it, to turn the safety.
Okay. All right. Do you remember which side of the gun the safety was on?
I have no idea.
Do you remember if it's an ambidextrous safety?
I don't know.
Okay. Had you owned the gun for a while?
It was Jeremy's gun.
And Jeremy's gun? Were you with him when he bought it?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So you get the gun from the drawer. What exactly did you, after you've got the gun from the drawer, as I understand this now, you've turned towards the clock. You've used the light from the clock.
I think I actually might have walked towards.
Where was the
use
clock
light.
at?
On the, I'm assuming was a dresser in there. I think it was probably on the corner of the dresser.
Corner of the dresser.
Or on the armoire. One of the
Okay.
two. It was there.
So you've walked from here to the dresser to look, use the light of the clock to look at the safety and take the safety off. Okay. And how long did that take?
I couldn't say exactly how long it took.
Okay.
I mean, I imagine it didn't take very long.
Okay. I mean, seconds, minute?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't watching the clock.
But you have some sense of time. We've established that you're a relatively intelligent adult.
I
you've
imagine
got
it probably
college.
took a few seconds.
Few seconds.
I don't-
Okay.
I don't think it
All
took
right.
minutes.
Okay. So you're right here. You've got the safety off. What is your next action?
I shot towards the doorway.
Okay.
Or, like, out of the doorway.
And what were you shooting at?
I was just shooting because I heard noise out there.
Mm-hmm.
So my reaction was just to shoot. I don't know who's out there. There's nobody else in the house. It's Jeremy and I. There
Mm-hmm.
should be nobody else in that house.
Okay. All right. And why did you shoot 2 shots?
I don't remember how many shots that I shot.
Okay.
You're saying I shot 2?
All right. How many do you think you shot?
I have no idea. I know I shot the gun.
Okay.
I don't
But
remember
you
how
shot it
many
more than
times.
once, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Well,
I remember shooting the gun. How many times? I don't remember.
okay. What were you aiming at when you shot?
I was just aiming where I heard the noise.
Okay.
Out towards the hallway.
And what kind of rapid succession were you shooting the gun? Did you shoot, wait a second, shoot again, wait a second? I mean, how did you do
I
that?
imagine I probably just shot. I don't really remember what.
Okay.
I mean, It all happened really quickly. I don't remember how quickly I shot. I imagine
Okay.
if you say I shot 2 times, then I imagine I shot 2 times pretty quickly.
Okay.
I
So-
don't think I shot and waited to see what was going to happen.
All right. What hand did you hold the gun with?
I'm right-handed.
You're right-handed? Okay. Did you take a one-handed stance or a two-handed stance?
I really don't remember.
You don't remember how you shot the gun?
No, I don't really remember. I mean, I remember having the gun in my hand.
If you're going to lie to 2 detectives' faces, you might want to sound a little more confident than Julene does here. For someone who is very experienced with firearms, and trust me, Julene absolutely was, it sounds pretty ridiculous when she says she doesn't remember whether she used one hand or 2.
Just so I have this clear in my head, you have shot the gun 2 or more times, okay? You don't know what you've done with the gun, or you think you took it to the bed with you?
I'm sure I took it to the bed. I don't know if
Okay.
I sat it down or took it in the bed, but I had it with me.
Okay, so let's go right to the point. You fired the shots, you're on the bed. What's the next thing you do?
I was checking on Jeremy in the bed.
Okay, in the dark or in the light?
At some point, I turned the light on.
Okay.
I probably turned it on fairly quickly to see what was going on.
And what did you determine after you turned on? What did you see when you turned on the light?
I saw him laying there, and there was blood everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And what did you do then? What was the very next thing you did?
I think I grabbed a towel.
Okay, where did you get the towel from?
I don't know if it was on the dresser, on the nightstand. I'm not sure where there was a towel there. I grabbed it.
Is that normal for there to be a towel on the nightstand?
I don't know. Probably. I'm not sure where I grabbed it from. I remember there being a towel.
Do you remember getting off the bed to get the towel?
I don't remember that.
Okay. What did you do when you got the towel?
I put it on the back of his head.
Okay. All right. And what did you do then?
I think probably shortly after that is when I called 911. I was looking for the phone.
Okay. And you found the phone again where?
His phone was, I believe, it was sitting on his nightstand.
Okay. Where would your phone have been?
I believe my phone was either in the other room. I think my phone was in the other room on the charger.
Okay. During this period of time, do you hear any other noises in the house?
I don't remember paying attention to anything but what was going on right there.
Okay. So now you're calling the 911 operator, correct? Okay. What transpired during that period of time? What did you do?
I remember pulling him off the bed, as she instructed me to do, to get him onto
And how
the
did
floor.
you do that?
I don't know how I grabbed him. I grabbed him and pulled him off the bed over to here.
Okay. All right. Did you set the phone down when you were doing that? Were you holding the phone? Did you have what were you doing at that
I don't
time?
really remember where the phone was.
Okay.
I remember being on the phone. I don't know if I set it down or if I was holding it and
Okay.
doing it.
All right. So you set him on the floor, correct?
Yeah.
How much time elapsed from the time you called 911 and you decided to move him onto the floor?
I did it when she told me to.
Okay. All right. And what did you do then?
I was holding a towel behind his head,
Okay.
and I did do CPR. She was instructing me on the phone.
Again, I'm not trying to be insensitive here, but did it appear to you at that time that he was deceased?
I thought I could see his neck moving. But, I don't know if I was thinking that or not.
Okay. Was there a point prior to the arrival of the police that you believed he was deceased?
I wasn't sure.
Well, I understand you weren't sure. Was there a point that you thought he's gone?
I don't really know. What I was thinking at that point.
Okay.
When it comes to the 911 call, we heard how traumatized Julene sounded while she was on the phone. But here's the thing. Police later had behavioral analysis experts review that call. And according to them, the way Julene was speaking actually lined up with patterns they usually see when someone is being deceptive.
Just based on what you're telling us, you take the gun with you to the bed, and prior to taking your gun with you, when you checked Jeremy, you also felt something wet. I'm assuming that was blood, okay? After you shoot, you go to the bed and you take the gun with you, and as you indicated, there was blood everywhere. Did you wipe that gun off in any way? And the reason I ask you that is because there wasn't any blood on that weapon that you fired. I'm assuming that had you had it on your hands or in the bed, there would have been some blood on there. And I didn't know if you had wiped the gun off in any way.
I don't remember wiping it.
Okay.
I don't know why I would have wiped the gun off.
Any idea on why there was no blood on the weapon? Okay. There was some time between when you heard the noise and you grabbed the gun, you went to the clock, you moved to the end of the bed, and then you shot several times, okay? At that time, and you probably had time to think about this, if there was somebody in the house, how he got out or how long it took him to get out. The revolver that was used was found on the kitchen floor, okay? The revolver had no blood on it either. The revolver was used a couple of inches away from Jeremy when it was fired. So there would have been a significant amount of blowback on that weapon. But when the gun was found, there was no blood on it. And I was just, was there enough time that someone could have wiped that off?
I have no idea
Okay.
what someone might have done.
Okay. Normally, you had indicated that normally when Jeremy hooked the dogs up, he would lock the doors. I think in a previous statement you had indicated to the police that this was something that he normally did. So when he went out to hook up the dogs, he normally came in and he would lock all the doors. That was kind of like
He
his
was the
thing.
last one, yeah.
Yeah. There was no fingerprints of Jeremy found on the door to the kitchen, and no DNA that would have indicated that he would have touched that door. I'm just,
Well, he would have touched the door. That was
Yeah.
the only door we used in the house.
I know, and I didn't know whether or not, I don't know how that would have occurred either. I'm just,
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah.
You guys are the experts.
yeah, well, we'll figure it out.
The gun that was used to kill Jeremy, the .357, the one that you guys used at the range for qualification, where was that normally kept?
Normally,
Yes.
I don't know about normally. I believe that gun was in our china cabinet
Okay.
at that time.
All right. Was that a usual place to keep it?
Sometimes
Sometimes.
it would be in
Okay.
there, sometimes
All
not.
right. Is there any reason that you can think of that a DNA swab of the curio cabinet would only have your DNA on it?
Absolutely not. Nor can I say why the back door it would not have Jeremy's DNA, since that was the door that everybody used to get into the house.
Okay.
I find that to be very strange.
Okay.
Detectives now start bringing up something a lot harder to explain away than hallway noises and mystery intruders. According to the forensic tests, the only DNA found on the gun cabinet was Julene's. And just to make things even weirder, Jeremy's fingerprints weren't found on the doors he supposedly locked that night. But if you ask Julene, yeah, it's all just one big mystery. Up to this point, Julene probably thought everything was going exactly according to plan. What she didn't realize was that detectives had already started spotting the holes in her story. And once they start laying them out, let's just say, Julene isn't going to enjoy that part of the conversation.
We'll agree to disagree on whether or not it's a low crime rate area, okay? But we have a security conscious couple. There's only the two of you in the house. You go to bed that night. You have dogs that bark all around your property. You have an alarm system in your driveway. Mm-hmm. You have an alarm system on your house. And I understand it's not being monitored by an alarm
It was not
company.
even on. We hadn't
Okay.
used that,
Okay.
to be clear.
Okay. Do you understand it was working when BCI
The chimes were working. That
Okay.
that had not been turned on for a long time.
Okay.
The actual
When you say the
security
chimes
system.
are working, what do you mean?
I mean, when you open the back door or the side door or the basement door, it would give a chime.
Right. But it wasn't sending an alarm to any
No.
place.
The security system was not
Sure. Just the
on,
chimes
like
would sound.
there were motion detectors in the house. Those were not on.
Okay. But the chimes on the
The chimes
doors
were
would
on.
sound.
Yeah.
And it's only those 4 first floor doors, right? You didn't have any, did you have any windows hooked up?
No. There was a front door, side door, back door, and basement door. I believe were all hooked into the chimes.
And that chime's like a 3-tone chime or something
Something
like
like
that. And your
that.
driveway alarm's kind of a long, annoying blare. Okay. All right. So I've got that right? Okay. So follow me here if you will. It's the hours of darkness, it's cool weather. We have a security conscious couple that has camera systems, an alarm, and 4, to the outward observer, would look like security dogs surrounding the house. Your husband locks up the door. You go to bed.
Assume he locked up the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
One
is there
of us
any
locked
is
the
there any
door.
reason to believe that the door would not be locked if that's the general
No.
habit? Okay.
Julene proudly explains that their house basically had more security than a small bank. The problem is, somehow none of it went off the morning her husband was supposedly murdered by an intruder.
Would you agree that this paints a pretty domineering picture of your husband?
He was a dominant guy.
Okay. And you were comfortable in that relationship? Mm-hmm. Okay. You didn't mind being subservient to him
This was
to the
only,
point of degradation.
This was only role playing.
Is only role
For
playing.
your information, just so you know, it wasn't like in a daily relationship. It was like this. This was just role playing, like in the
Okay.
bedroom. It
Well, the
wasn't
reason-
like we went out into the world with this.
I understand it may have been a relationship you kept among yourselves. My concern is, given the events of everything that have happened, there are videos and pictures of you, sometimes in distress. I have seen pictures of you in chains crying. There are videos of you where pain is being inflicted upon you and you're crying. Are you saying that you are a willing participant for all of that?
I was a willing participant in everything that went on in the
Okay.
bedroom.
All right. There was none of that you were ever forced to do?
No.
Okay. All right. You can understand, I think, why we might ask you those questions given the circumstances we have here. Okay.
You indicated, though, that Jeremy was a dominant individual between the two of you. He was the dominant one.
I would say more so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there have been, the police had done a number of interviews where individuals have said they were at your house, and Jeremy would often order you around, even to the point of asking you to get certain pictures of you and to bring them to Jeremy so he could show them to his guest.
What kind of pictures and whom are these guests?
Well, at this time, I'm not going to reveal the guest's name, but I just
Well,
wanted
I can't
to know
answer
if
a
that
question that I don't know who said what
Okay.
and
But
what
that-
was being looked at.
that kind of situation, then you don't recall what you're saying? Okay, okay. Did some of these individuals had indicated that he would often order you around, get me a beer, get me this, get me that, and you would do so willingly and submissively?
I wasn't ordered around, and I was a very good hostess. I mean, I usually was the one getting drinks for everybody, or
Okay.
food, or whatever when we had guests.
Well, if he was the dominant role player, how would you describe yourself?
Here, detectives were trying to get to a possible motive for why Julene would kill Jeremy, but she handled those questions pretty carefully, and unfortunately, the real motive still isn't clear even to this day. What is clear, though, and what they were talking about here, is that the couple had an unusual sexual dynamic, including explicit photographs, videos, and a handwritten master-slave, father-daughter role-play agreement.
How would you describe the relationship with your father in the last years of his life?
I only met with my father one time.
And when was that?
It was when he was in the hospital.
When you say only met with him one time, is that you're talking about after he was incarcerated and then
I
he was
believe
released?
that
or-
was the only time that I met with him after that. I'm not sure,
Okay, what
to
hospital
be
was that?
exact. I think it was at Mercy.
Okay, and what was the nature of that meeting?
He was dying,
Okay.
and
Had-
all the siblings got together
Okay.
and went there.
Was there anything significant he said to you at that time?
Nope,
Okay. Had your father ever apologized to you for the actions he'd inflicted on you?
nope.
Okay. Did you still resent that?
I didn't resent it. It wasn't even something I thought about on a daily basis.
It didn't
I had
bother you?
resolved that in my life long before.
At what point in your life do you think you resolved that?
I don't know. I went through a lot of counseling for it.
Okay. How many years would you say you went through counseling for that?
I have no idea.
I mean, 2, 7?
I don't know. I was young.
Okay. All right. Here's why I asked the question. Clearly, it was a horrific thing that was done to you by your father. It's horrific, inexcusable. Okay. I'm sure you're aware that during the course of the investigation, subsequent to the search warrants, that we seized the computer equipment. and that computer equipment was examined. When we talk about there are a number of issues that arise, such as I've laid out for you already, that would tend to make you the prime suspect, okay? 11 hours before your husband is found dead, someone is on the computer in your house pulling up your father's obituary. Now, why would that be, and who would do that?
Well, first of all, I would like to see that, proof of that, because I don't think that ever happened.
Well, we have that proof.
Well, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see what time it was and everything else.
Oh, we can tell you exactly. It happened at 18:57 and 03 seconds on July 17, 2009. And if you go to this URL, this website, you'll pull up exactly this obituary.
You said July 17th?
No. November 7th. I may have said July. November 17th. It's 11 hours before the homicide was called in.
Can we see what was accessed before and after?
Sure.
Let's see.
What is this? That doesn't tell us anything.
This looks as though
Julian, I can assure you there's no trick here. A computer expert will be willing to testify that that is exactly what that is.
Well, first of all, did you access this?
No,
Okay.
I didn't access it, but I am curious about.
Yeah, we just want to see who was maybe on the computer. Can you tell, Michael?
well, somebody searched. Looks as though somebody searched Jeremy Simcoe. Looks like someone
At
searched Julene Simcoe.
somebody.
So it looks like there's a-
So somebody searched Jeremy Simcoe at the same time. Then somebody searched this article. Somebody searched Julie Nick. Now, who's Julie Nick? That's you.
That's my maiden name.
So somebody searched you.
Someone searched Julene Simcoe.
Somebody searched Julie Simcoe.
Somebody searched Judy Maldonado.
Now, Judy Maldonado is your mom.
According to the computer records, someone in the house pulled up her father's obituary just 11 hours before Jeremy was shot. And this was definitely a painful subject for Julene because she was sexually abused by her father as a child. It might sound like a random detail, but somehow it seems to be connected to Jeremy's murder.
The operator asks you, is there an intruder in the house? And you say yes. How did you know there was an intruder in the house?
The same reason I shot the gun.
You heard it.
Obviously, I didn't shoot Jeremy. I didn't kill my husband. So obviously somebody else was in the house.
Okay.
And they weren't there for any good purposes.
Okay, if we get back to the inconsistencies that we see in this case, all right, we see that you make that immediate statement to 911, he didn't shoot himself, but if you weren't present at the shooting, how would you know that? You say there's an intruder in the house, you heard a noise is all you heard. Let's go to the kitchen where the gun was found, okay? We find the gun. First of all, in any shooting like that, have you ever shot into a mud hole or anything like that, or shot into the water, shot close to a tree? You ever done any of those things? If you have, you'll notice that you get splashback or blowback onto the weapon, okay? So someone took the time, in between the time Jeremy was shot, to clean that weapon of any blowback. Here's the really interesting thing. If we assume your theory that there is an intruder in the home, don't you think the intruder would be in a hurry to leave if he heard the shots that you fired?
I would say, yeah.
Okay. But yet this intruder who gained access to the house without setting off the door alarm, without being caught on the camera, without setting off any of the driveway alarm, without making any of the dogs bark, without being noticed by any outside sources, without forcing entry into the home, has made his way into a darkened home, has found a gun on a curio cabinet that bears only your DNA, removes a gun from a holster, goes upstairs to the room where you and Jeremy typically sleep together. That person has to lean across the bed, get within 2 inches of Jeremy's head, pull the trigger, shoot him in the back of the head, taking his life instantaneously. Then, follow me here, please. Then, yes, he was shot in the back of the head. Okay. So follow me now. And you see why we have the concerns we have. That person then has to leave there, decides not to search for you at all, isn't worried about you even though they're armed with a gun, goes downstairs, ostensibly knocks over a chair, but the chair is knocked over in such a manner that the robe is laying underneath it, so it wouldn't have made much noise. It would have been a cushioned fall. Takes the time to clean all the blowback off that gun, which is a considerable amount of time, and then doesn't drop it on the floor because we had BCI check for that. He lays the gun on the floor. There is no damage to the floor from the gun. There is no damage to the gun from the floor. So he lays the gun on the floor, then again mysteriously exits the residence through the open back kitchen door, again doesn't set off the driveway alarm, doesn't set off the dogs barking.
And you're assuming how all this happened because you don't know, nor do I know what transpired. You're
what else?
assuming somebody went out the back door. You're assuming
Every other
assuming
door was
stuff, too.
secured. No, I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing. I am going where the evidence leads me. I wasn't there. You were there. I'm only going where
And I
the
can
evidence
only
in this
assume
case
with
leads
you
me.
too,
But I'm going where the evidence leads.
Forensic analysis showed Jeremy was shot from just 1 or 2 inches away, but the gun was wiped completely clean, which is basically impossible from that distance. And if someone was actually fleeing the scene like Julene claimed, they would have tossed the gun and run, not carefully placed it on the floor. You don't need a genius IQ to see what this looks like, and it looks staged.
Is there any way that you don't think we would have to consider you as the prime suspect? We were hoping that you would come in here today and really enlighten us with something. But thus far, all I have is more inconsistencies. We want to help you get resolution here. That's the point of this.
What other suspects have you looked at if you want to get resolution?
We're not going to discuss
Have other
other
people
suspects.
been looked at? Have you investigated this any further
We
than
have
me?
investigated. Every avenue that's come up has been investigated. Every avenue, everything here is this case. Everything. Those are all reports related to this case.
Did you also look into the break-ins that happened? Because there were a
Ma'am.
number of things with footprints and stuff that were never resolved. And a fingerprint that I remember hearing the detective talk about, whatever became of that.
Julene, everything was looked at. Everything
And you
was
came
looked
up
at.
with nothing.
What have we come up with on this case? What have we come up with the homicide? If you're a reasonable person, where does the evidence point in this case? I'm asking you, put yourself in my shoes.
She's not going to answer that question. I mean, I know what you want her to answer, but she's already told you that she came in here to assist you. If you ask her a question that might be something that she could assist you with, I think she's tried to answer every question. And, I mean, I don't care if you have everything in the world laid out on top of this table. It doesn't mean that she killed her husband. She's trying to help you with this investigation, but once it starts getting accusatory, then we're going to have to stop the interview. So if you have some more questions you'd like to ask her, she's willing to answer those. If you're going to try to accuse her or have her tell you, yes, I did this, you're not going to get the answer you want.
Julene looks almost offended that anyone would dare suspect her, which is a bold attitude to have when you're the only other person in the house where your husband was shot in the head.
Also, you indicated in a previous statement that the automatic weapon that you took from the nightstand was actually in his nightstand, not yours. You indicated that's where it always was.
What are you asking me?
In a previous statement, you indicated when you went to get the automatic weapon that it was in his nightstand.
No, it was in my
Okay.
nightstand.
You indicated after that that's where it always was.
Well, a lot of times I probably said, I don't know what I said.
Yeah.
It definitely got it from my nightstand.
It's very, I guess there's a lot of ironies here, but for example, in the sleeping pills that he took, you had indicated in a previous statement that he had taken sleeping pills for a long period of time and almost got basically addicted to it. And then he laid off of it because he was addicted to it. On this particular night that,
I stated that?
yes,
To who?
to the police.
Okay.
On this particular night, it just seemed to be coincidental that on the night he got killed, he happened to start taking sleeping pills at that time.
I wouldn't say he just up and started taking them.
Well, that's what you said. I'm not putting words in your mind. I mean, that's just
I
a
don't
previous
recall
statement.
saying anything like that. I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
it
I
was
just.
frequent for him to take pills,
Okay.
so
Okay.
it was not out of the ordinary.
If he didn't take those sleeping pills.
Or to drink. A lot of times he would drink NyQuil
Okay.
to sleep.
Okay. But on this occasion, he took sleeping pills, from your statement.
Yeah.
Okay. If he hadn't taken the sleeping pills, and he would have woke up when someone was entering the room, and he would have reached for the automatic weapon, he wouldn't have found it in his nightstand because it would have moved to your nightstand.
It didn't matter which nightstand it was in. I mean,
Why
if
not?
it was in, I mean, I don't know how they want me to answer this. It
Well,
was either in mine or his, so it would have been there.
But wasn't it always kept in his nightstand?
A
Isn't
lot
that
of
what you
times it was
said?
kept in his, sometimes it was kept in mine.
Oh, because that's not a previous statement. You said it was always kept in his, but when you were cleaning, you went into the drawer and there were a lot of papers in there, so you moved the gun into your nightstand. Does that sound right? Do you remember what kind of papers that were in the drawer?
No idea.
Okay, all right. Had he woken up though, because the gun was always kept in his nightstand, he would have found no weapon had he tried to reach for it. It's just. It also seems pretty coincidental on the one night you indicated in a previous statement that you rarely slept upstairs, but on this particular night you slept upstairs the same night he got killed. So we have this on this particular occasion. We have him taking sleeping pills for the first time in a while. We have you going upstairs to sleep, which you rarely do, and you have his automatic weapon, which is no longer in his nightstand, but in yours. I mean, I just find that coincidental. If any one of those circumstances didn't exist, things may have been different. I don't know. I mean, do you have any explanation for any of that? No.
At this point, Julene clearly realized she was the main suspect, so suddenly everything started turning into a coincidence. And here's the thing about coincidences. When you start stacking this many together, they usually stop being coincidences at all. In December 2014, more than 5 years after Jeremy Simcoe was found shot in his own bed, investigators finally arrested Julene Simcoe and charged her with aggravated murder, felonious assault, and tampering with evidence. Prosecutors argued that she had carefully staged the scene to make it look like a home invasion, but the physical evidence and the absence of any real intruder told a very different story. After several years of pre-trial motions, the case went to trial in October 2017. Julene made the unusual decision to waive her right to a jury, choosing instead to have Judge Mark Betleski decide her fate in a bench trial. After a week of testimony built almost entirely on circumstantial evidence, the judge found her guilty on all counts, concluding that the evidence proved she shot her husband while he slept. She was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 28 years, with her first parole hearing scheduled for 2045.